Hi guys, it's Jacob from Stringbuzz here, stringbuzzworld.org being the music journalism site, links are in the description down below. And we have a brand new song review for you today, and it's the latest track by Papa Roach, and that's Born for Greatness. So I'm going to refer to the original article as I usually do for these videos, so I hope you enjoy. So it feels like an absolute age ago since Papa Roach released the track, it's Crooked Teeth, or single, whatever you want to call it, and it was a single that I actually really enjoyed, and it was even one of my favourites during that, I think it was October period last year. It might have even been September. It's that long ago since they released a debut single from this upcoming self-titled album, or rather self-titled to that single. With bands like Weezer and Linkin Park experimenting with terrible, outdated sounds at the moment and becoming cliche parodies of themselves, I'm just hoping that Papa Roach won't fall into that mix because they deserve better than that. So shall we see what I thought of this brand new track? Well, I certainly spoke too soon, didn't I? Well, this track is like an Imagine Dragons tribute band tried to throw in a Limp Bizkit track to end up their set at the local pub, and as you can imagine, this track is an absolute mess, a catastrophe even. I'm all for experimenting with your sound and growing as music grows around you, because that's crucial to keeping up with the local scene as well as the international scene when you're a group of this caliber, and no one wants to hear any more like nu metal or early 2000s rock, since that stage has been and gone now. I don't want to listen to that. I'm sure fans of Papa Roach don't want to listen to that, but I'm going to reiterate a lot of the points I made in my Linkin Park review. This is not experimenting, this is not a new sound, and this is a pointless endeavour really, outside of just giving fans more content. Experimenting means trying something new and different. This might sound new or different for this group in particular, but it's old news in the rock/metal/pop scene. This is not a new sound, since this is over-manipulated EDM heavy rock track stuff has been around for at least a decade at this point. Bands have been doing this for a while now. This is an old sound. This is pointless because true hearty fans won't like this. It's not unique enough to pull in a casual listener. It's not well written enough to really wow songwriters, and it's just kind of a dead rubber track really. Now, I'm not owed anything from the group. I'm not asking for Infest Volume 2 because I probably wouldn't like that, but at least try to sound like Papa Roach on this track and not just like One Republic doing an EDM cover of Papa Roach, because yeah, I'm not feeling that. Production wise, this track just suffers from basically what all rock music is suffering from at the moment, and that is overproduction. I even did a video on this on the YouTube channel, which I definitely recommend you check out. Nice little plug there. Everything has been so tampered with and so gated that it loses all of its natural identity. The whole point of using instruments is to create an organic sound that utilizes the natural tones of said instruments, whether that be in collaboration in the background of the mix or whether that be in the foreground driving the mix. But this track basically uses instruments to then strip them back down again, to then add electronic elements where the girth of their instrumental tone should be, and rebuild them from the bass up. I mean, what a pointless procedure. Why bother doing that? The beat is too compressed and the cymbals don't bleed nor glisten in that high ground. The bass swaps between being organic and being sub-transferred, so we get some periods which possess some twang and tonality to them in the low ground, and others that are just dry and dull and just your regular sub-bass. The vocals are way too overproduced on this track as well, being noise-gated to heck and over-equalized and turned up way too loud in the mix. It was like he was shouting at me half the time. Funnily enough, the guitar doesn't actually sound too bad on this track, despite all I just mentioned earlier. Before I forget, also throw in the pads in there and the synths for impact, but it didn't add impact. But instead the reverse happened and we get this really messy and watery mix that I just didn't understand. But back onto the guitars, because I don't want to gloss over that. The guitar doesn't sound too bad in that breakdown either, since we got this like root note riff, but then it disappears during the rest of the mix, so yeah, I guess I can put that to one side. So even though this has been a bit of a mess of a production like analysis, is a bit of a mess of a production cycle to try and put all into one video. Give me a break. When it comes to the musicality of this track, it's so cringe-inducing, it hurts me, and it gives me horrible flashbacks to when Falling in Reverse went down that rap route, that horrible rap route. It's just so cheesy and thick with cliche that I genuinely found myself uncomfortable listening to this track. The rapping verses are really ploddy, and it's exactly what you'd expect or what you'd imagine from a rock singer trying to do rap. I mean, I know I've heard it done before, and Papa Roach, in fact, have done it before, and when they started up, they used to do it quite often, but it's never been quite so visceral and in your face as on this track. The verses are dull and are roped together by this big tom beat and these lifeless, boring pads with no timbre or tone to them, and it's basically battle symphony, but with a little less Chester and a little more Jacoby. Then we cut in with this pre-chorus / extended chorus full of Dan Reynolds-esque oohs and ahs, which are made just a little bit more cheesy by these terrible gang vocals. I mean, Jacoby has an excellent voice, almost like a generation-defining voice if you want to go that far, but this track is one to really forget, as his melodies are stripped down and mundane, his rapping skills are poor, and the inclusion of gang vocals just made him sound that bit, or rather that much more worse. I will say that I like the guitar riff, as I've said, in that chorus, and how hearty it sounded, and I want to hear much more of that. Crooked Teeth was all about that, and I really enjoyed that. But this song just feels like a minute or two too long, and it's only like 3 minutes 40 long, and that's down to it just being rinse and repeat with no variation or decoration from section to section. So yeah, rant over. Lyrically, the track just stumbles even further down the pecking order, with this whole empowering Born for Greatness hook really taking the cake for being the most melodramatic, eye-rolling phrase of the last fortnight. That's just the half of it too, since we got verse after verse of pure cheese factor, and I found it an absolute slog to really get through. So all in all, I just struggled to find any reasoning behind this track, and unfortunately, if the whole Crooked Teeth album sounds like this rather than the self-titled single, then Papa Roach can be thrown into that category of past it alongside fellow 2000s rockers Good Charlotte, Sum 41, Blink-182, Weezer, and even Linkin Park. So I gave it a G rating of 3 out of 10. It was lucky not to get even lower, but I think fans might at least appreciate some new content, so I can't be too harsh. So if you like this video, then please leave a like, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you around next time. Bye-bye.